He betrayed the Serpent Queen. His friends lowered Jamsab into a cave filled with honey, pulled up every jar, and took away the rope. They expected him to die there. Instead, deep beneath the earth, he found Shahmaran, a woman from the waist up, a serpent below, and queen of a hidden people who guarded the world's oldest remedies. She saved the man who had been abandoned. Years later, that mercy would lead soldiers back to her door. In one old Anatolian telling, Jamsab was a poor woodcutter who searched the hills with several companions. When they found a shaft dripping with wild honey, they tied a rope around him and lowered him into the dark. Jamsab filled jar after jar while the men above hauled up the treasure. He laughed at first, believing the discovery might feed all their families through winter. But greed changed their plan. They divided the honey, pulled away the rope, and left Jamsab calling into a circle of daylight that grew smaller with every step they took away. By sunset, only insects answered him. For hours, he searched the stone walls with bleeding fingers. At last, a thin line of blue light appeared behind a crack. He widened it and crawled through. The cave opened into an impossible garden beneath the earth, where clear water moved between turquoise columns and thousands of snakes rested without striking. At their center was Shahmaran. Her human face was calm, her crown shone like fire, and her serpent body coiled around a carved stone throne. Jamsab expected venom. Shahmaran offered food. She told him that her people harmed no guest who came without a weapon. As his wounds healed, she showed him roots that stopped fever, leaves that closed cuts, and oils that eased pain. She never asked him to kneel and never demanded payment. When he spoke of the men who had abandoned him, she answered that greed often made prisoners of those who believed themselves free. Days became months. Fear became trust. Jamsab listened to stories no human court had preserved, and Shahmaran began to believe that one man from the world above might value wisdom more than gold. But Jamsab still dreamed of his mother and the sky. He begged to return home. Shahmaran resisted, then finally opened the hidden path. She knew that longing could turn hospitality into a cage, and she would not repay his friend's cruelty by making him another prisoner. Before he left, she asked for one promise. He must never reveal her kingdom. She also warned him to avoid the public baths, because water would expose the serpent mark left by his time below. Jamsab swore that her secret would die with him. For years, he kept his word. Then the sultan fell ill. No physician could name the sickness, and every remedy failed. The royal vizier announced that only the flesh of Shahmaran could save the ruler. He ordered every man in the city to enter the baths while soldiers watched their skin. Jamsab hid, but absence became proof. He was dragged to the water. The moment it touched him, scales flashed across his body, and the soldiers knew he had seen the Queen of Snakes. Jamsab refused to speak. The vizier threatened his family, beat him, and promised that the sultan's death would become his crime. Jamsab remembered the woman who had released him when she could have kept him safely below. He also saw his mother surrounded by guards. At last, broken by fear and pain, he led the soldiers toward the hills. With every step, he searched for a way to turn back, but armed men walked before and behind him. He stopped before the hidden entrance and understood what his freedom had cost. Shahmaran did not flee when the torches entered her garden. She looked past the blades and found only Jamsab's eyes. In this telling, Shahmaran already knew how the story would end. She asked to speak with Jamsab alone and gave him 3 instructions. Her head was to be prepared for the sultan, and it would cure him. Her body was for the cruel vizier, and it would destroy him. Her tail was for Jamsab, and it would give him the knowledge to heal others. Then the soldiers killed the queen whose wisdom they had come to steal. Jamsab obeyed. The sultan recovered. The vizier drank his portion and died. Jamsab received the knowledge of herbs, illness, and the human body, and the legend says he became the healer, later remembered as Lokman Hekam. But wisdom could not erase the face of the woman who had trusted him. He spent the rest of his life curing strangers with knowledge purchased by her death. Beneath the earth, Shahmaran's snakes still waited for their queen, unaware that humans had taken her away. Some say the snakes will rise if they ever learn what happened. Others say Shahmaran lives wherever healing is used with mercy rather than greed. Her image still appears in homes and workshops as a guardian of wisdom, patience, and secrets that power must not possess. But every version keeps the same wound. She saved a man from betrayal, and that same man brought betrayal back to her door. By lamplight, this has been the tale of Shahmaran, the Serpent Queen. Subscribe to Nightfall Tales for another old story after dark.